everyone, welcome to Watercolor Wednesday. I am Bonnie Krebs, creator of Watercolor the Art Impressions Way, and this week we're going to continue our Christmas theme, and so I'm going to show you how to put this little snowy scene together. I've got a little wreath around it, and I think it's just so cute. And I was thinking about this, and I think it would be really cute as an ornament. You could put it in a circle frame and hang it on a tree. It would be a great gift for someone. And of course, you can always put it on a card or put it in a frame. That works too. So lots of uses for these little Christmassy watercolors. They're really, really easy to do. This one is a little bit more time consuming, but still just as easy. It's just that it takes a little bit more time, but it's not any harder than any of the projects that we've done in the past because we're using all of the same elements. So that's what makes it really fun. So let's get going on this one. We're going to need a few things. So we're going to start out with a little mini cottage set. We're going to use this one right here. Of course, all of these will work, and any little structure that you have will work too. We are also going to use our fir tree set. This is so perfect for Christmas with these little fir trees. So we're going to use these two little branches, the left and the right. In the branches set, we're going to use this little guy right here. In the fall set, we're going to use the little berries, so the one's going to the left. In the new foliage set, we're going to use this little guy, this little tiny one. And then we're coming back to our foliage set, so the original one, and we're going to use the vine right here. Okay, so let's get going on this one. And I've started out with my watercolor paper. So this is a quarter sheet of a 9x12 sheet of watercolor paper. So that makes it about 4.5 by 6. It works for most projects, and it will work for this one too. So what I've done is draw a circle in the center. This is a 3-inch circle, and I feel like that's about the perfect size, but you could bring it in a little bit. You could bring this in, make your wreath a little bit smaller, or you can push it out and make your scene a little larger. So that's kind of up to you. There's a lot of flexibility with these. So we're going to start out with our little structure, so the little cottage, and we're going to ink that in the number 86. So this is a snowy scene. So we've got a lot of bright snow going on, a lot of bright white. So we're going to ink this all up in the 86. And then we're going to take the bottom of it off. So I just use my thumb. I think that's the easiest, but you can clean this off however you want to. And we're going to stamp it in our paper, right in the center of the circle, a little closer to the top. So right about there. That's about perfect. And we're going to start out by pulling the color out of the lines. So just like every other project, we're going to dip the brush in water. And we're going to pinch it off so that brush is flat. And these are tiny, tiny little lines, so we don't want a lot of water in here. So you're just kind of dragging this color out, just very carefully. Just pull that color out, especially under the eaves. Clean your brush off and do one little swipe across the bottom here. That's going to push up the snow that's on this roof, because we want it to look like this is a white roof and there's a little snowy scene up on the top. And let's just keep working our way around. Let's pull this color out now of the doorway and the windows. And we're going to stop about there. We'll come back to this in a little bit, and we'll add some more to this little structure. So let's go on now to the snow. So we're going to add the snow, and we're going to do that with our number 86. And so we've left this bottom part off so that we can build this little snowy bank here. So we're just going to put this in like this, just like that. And then let's add our little foliage to the background. So that's this little vine right here. And we're just going to ink, so I hope you can see this on the video. The very top little leaves, we're not going to ink those. So we want kind of a straight line across the top. So the very top, we're not going to ink those. And you'll see probably easier when I stamp it. You can see I've left kind of a flat top. So I'm going to do that again, and I'm just going to stamp it a couple of times just like this. And the reason we do that is because we want to put some snow on the top. Adding snow to things is really easy to do, and it's just a matter of putting a little mound at the top. So just like this. Just kind of draw that in, and we've got our little foliage with our snow on top. Super easy to do. And then we're going to come in underneath that snow. So right in here, we're going to just draw a line underneath so that we're kind of building that up and making it look more three-dimensional. And then clean your brush off and then dab at this little tree. Just kind of dab at it. It's really small, and so you don't have to do a lot, and it sure doesn't take much water. So very carefully, just like that. Okay, you can see how this is kind of coming together now. We'll do some more of that later as soon as that dries. So let's go on to the little structure, and we're going to add some more to this little structure. So we're going to add some color to it, and let's start out by adding some color to the windows. So I'm using, this is a number 43. This is Brilliant Yellow, and I'm using the fine tip, and I'm just carefully drawing in these little panes in the window. So we've got an evening scene, so we've got a dark sky, and we want to see the lights glowing in this little house. Makes it feel warm. Your whole little painting will feel warm. And this is what gives it atmosphere. Fun. And add these little details to the window. It takes a little extra time, but it's always worth it to do that. So just kind of put these little panes in rather than coloring the window all in solid. Okay, so we've got that done. So let's go on and add some color now to the structure. Now, normally when we're adding color to something, we would start with sepia. And in this case, this is so far back in the background, and we've got a lot of snow going on that I just started with the African violet. So we can do that too. So I'm adding some color now to my palette. This is the number 6 brown. It's a warm brown, and it's going to work great for this project. So we're going to add some color just like this. We're going to start with the front where it's the lightest, and just put this color on very carefully. This is so tiny. This whole area is so tiny, and you want to just give the idea of this color. So just brush it on. And just carefully add the color to it. Kind of stay away from the other lines, away from that blue. And then when you get back in here on the side, this is back in the shadow, so this is going to be darker. So we can really get some color on here. And just keep brushing this color in. This is so fun. Okay, you can see how that made that three-dimensional, just doing that. And let's add just a little bit more. So we're going to make another pass here. Just like this. And let's put a little color on the door. Actually, let's do something different. Let's put a little wreath on here. So I'm using the fine tip of the number 15, and I'm just going to draw a little circle. Everyone can draw a circle. And just because you don't have a stamp for every single detail doesn't mean you can't freehand something. See how cute that is? And easy. So easy. So let's keep going here. Let's add a little color now to the chimney. And you can see the chimney is two-sided, so we want to leave that little white space. Even on these tiny little areas, it's really important to do that because you can see that corner kind of pops out now. Let's add a little more color in here. And just use the tip of your brush. And you can see this is starting to come alive. It's just amazing how your image changes when you do this step. When you add that, add the water to the image and then add some color to it, just changes it so much. It looks like a totally different image, and it looks like a painting. And that's what we're going for. Okay, so we've got that done. So let's go ahead and go on to the next step. And we're going to put in a little of the background here. So don't be scared of this. This is so easy to do. We're just going to make two kind of big C's. So a C in the front and then a C behind it. So use the fine tip of your number 86. And you're just going to come from over here on the side, and you're just going to drag this around. So just like this. And then you're going to come from that point, same point, and you're going to make another one. So just like that. Super, super easy to do and not scary at all. And let's put some background in here. So just like this. The more you do this, the easier it gets. It's not intimidating at all. So let's go on now and add some detail to those little trees that we put in. This is the number 45. And I'm just using the fine tip again. And I'm just putting in a few little branches. Just like that. And let's get our brush now and finish this little driveway. So we're going to take the brush, dip it in the water, and we're going to pull the color out from this side first. So we're just making a line straight across here. And you can see how that just popped that snow right up. And we're going to do the same thing here, only we're going to pull the color to the inside until we get around this little snowy bank, and then we bring it up to the top. So just like that. And you can pull some of this color out into here also. Drag some of this color out here. And we've got our little snowy scene about finished. So let's go ahead and add our little tree in the front. And we're going to do that with the little topper from the fir tree set. So this one right here. And we're just going to ink to the fullest area. So again, the thing about a stamp is that you could use the parts that you want. So because you're using a marker, you can ink just the areas that you want to ink. So we're not going to use this narrow point down here. We're just going to ink it from about the bottom third up. And we're going to stamp it kind of right in the middle here, just like that. Just a cute little tree. And then we're going to clean that off and just take the very, very tip and maybe put just one more in here. And do that again. And put another one in just like that. So we've got a little tree out in the front. Super cute. Dip our brush and pinch it off and just add the water to it. You can kind of shape this tree too with your brush. So once you've got the little foliage in there and the little branches, you can kind of shape this how you want it to. And let's add a little shadow underneath. And that's with our number 86. We're going to add a little bit to the palette. So just like this. We're very lightly, so that means a lot of water. So just like that. And let's just put a few little berries on here. Just love doing that. Makes it really festive. And you can do this or not. This is purely optional. And you can change this up too. You don't have to do it exactly the way I'm doing it. I'm just giving you the idea so that you can be inspired. Okay, so we've got that done. How fun is that? So we're going to use our Molotov now, and we're going to put some little dots in the background. So this is the Molotov. This is the art masking fluid, and it comes in a little pen, and it works great for snow. So we're going to just use a piece of paper here. So just like this, make sure that this is really primed. And so we make little dots just like this. So in the background where we're going to have all of our snow, just put it in here just like this. So easy. Just like that. And then we're going to let that dry, and I will be back in just a couple of minutes to continue on. Okay, I'm back, and you can see our masking fluid is dry. It changes color a little bit, so that's always the indicator that it's dry and we can move on and color over the top of it. So what we're going to do now is take our image and turn it upside down. It's much easier to pull the color out of the snowy areas when that image is upside down. And what we're doing is we're going to add some sky in here, and to make these areas look really white, we want to pull that color away from the roof, away from the snow, because the very top should be the whitest. And when we surround it with color, we're going to get that bright white. So let's turn this over, dip our brush in water, and just begin to pull this color to the outside. So we're just kind of dragging it up and away from the snowy areas. So just carefully just pull that color away from the roof and away from these little snowy tops. Okay, so you can see how that is kind of popping that snowy area out a little bit, and we're starting to create some sky back in here. Okay, so let's go on to the wreath, and we're going to do the wreath around here now. And you can do this really simply, or you can make it more elaborate. It's up to you. But this little structure inside is so small that I've chosen to do a really simple version. And also it takes less time, so that's always a positive. So I'm going to start with this little one. This one is actually going to the left when we stamp it, so it's got a little curve. And I'm just going to stamp it inside here. And I'm just going to just keep turning my paper. So just like this. And normally when I do a wreath, I divide it into corners, and then I just kind of repeat each section. But in this case, we're going around in the circle. So we're just walking our way around, and we don't need to do that. So we're just keep going around just like this. Doesn't matter that they're all perfectly positioned. That doesn't matter at all. So just keep turning your paper. Just like this. And I get it in here a couple of times, just so we can see that light and dark. And you can kind of look at it and see if there's any areas that look a little lopsided. You can go back and fill those in too. So let's go ahead and take the other one. So this one is kind of angling the other direction. And so we're going to take this one and we're going to just kind of move it on the outside. So just like this. We're going to kind of walk our way around again. So just like this, just keep going. Just keep walking your way around. These little wreaths are so fun to do. Super easy. And really, I just think this would be such a cute little ornament. I just think that would be so cute to do and to give to someone, especially if you could personalize it. I just think that would be so cute. Okay, so we've got our little evergreen boughs in. So let's go on to the next one, and that is our little foliage. So this is from the foliage set, and I've switched colors. So I've been using the pine green, so the number 72, and now I'm switching to the olive green. Just kind of mix it up a little bit. And I'm only using the top of the stamp. So it kind of looks like a C, a backwards C, and we're only using the very top. And we're just kind of filling in wherever. We don't want this to look too uniform, so we're kind of changing up the leaves a little bit and just adding a different look to it. But this is so, you can use any of your foliages. Any of them will work with this. And just keep working your way around. So I stamp it a couple of times and then I re-ink it. There we go. Just about finished. And take a look at it and see if it looks round and symmetrical, and if not, you can just add a little something somewhere. I think this side is a little off here. And that looks probably pretty good, pretty even. Okay, so now let's add the water to it. So we're gonna dip our brush in water, pinch it off, and we're just gonna dab at all of this little foliage. This is the relaxing part. And I think this is the most rewarding because this is where you see everything change. And it looks fine just the way it is, but when you add the water to it, it just kind of all comes together. And that's how you get that little watercolor look. So fun. Remember, you're not using a brush stroke, so you're not painting. We're just dabbing. And you can see my hand is flat on the table, like I'm writing my name. And I'm using the side of the brush, of my brush. And I'm just kind of jumping it all around. It's really important because you're not spearing it, you're not stabbing at it, you're just kind of using the side. And then pinch your brush, dip it in water, pinch it off, and then just keep going all the way around. And you can pre-stamp these, so maybe you are going somewhere on a trip and maybe you want a fun project to do. You could pre-stamp a bunch of these and then just add the water to them later. But they really are easy to travel with too because all of these elements are so small and you don't need very many blocks, and you for sure don't need very many markers. So that makes them really easy to travel with. Almost finished. And you can take your time on this too, because these dry really quickly. So as soon as I've stamped it, it's dry. But when you add the water to it, just kind of activates that color again and just saturates that color. And it just really enhances what you've just stamped. So fun. You can also adjust the shape in here too. So if you can see an area that looks a little, lopsided, you can pull the color out a little bit. And, as much, if you like that really abstract look, just keep adding water to it. Just keep softening. If you like a more defined look, you can leave more white space. And the more that you do these, the more you kind of develop your own style. And you'll kind of, gradually migrate one style or the other. Okay, that looks pretty good. So let's go ahead and add our little red berries in. That's always the fun part. And for this tiny little wreath, we don't really need any of these stems. So I'm using the 89 persimmon, and I'm just going to ink the berries. So just these little berries. And just kind of walk my way around again. So just like this. And you can ink just a few. So maybe I just want to put a few of them in, just to kind of change the shape a little bit. That's the fun thing about using a marker and using a stamp, is that you have so much versatility with these. Just by how many you ink. Wow, that red really pops things out, doesn't it? Love it. And you can put in as much of this as you want, or as few. If you want just a few, you can do that too. And maybe you just want to put in a few little single ones. So maybe you've got some areas that, look a little sparse. Just draw in a few. Or add another couple in here. Or if some of these, look a little light, just go back in. The whole goal is that it doesn't look like a stamp. So whatever we have to do to make it look like a painting, that's what we do. Because we want this to look like a little watercolor painting that nobody would ever guess was stamped. And it doesn't matter how many times you do these, they're going to be different every time. Mine are. And I've stamped these so many times, and I could do the same project over and over 100 times. It's going to be different every single time. But that's what's fun about it too, because it is your work. It's your art, even though you're using stamps. Okay, that looks good. So let's just add a dab of water to each of those little dots. That's just going to pop that color out too. So just the very, very tip. And just kind of work your way around. So fun and so easy. Once you learn how to stamp these, you're good to go. Okay, I think we've got them all, or we've got most of them. You can always come back in and add some details too later if you missed a spot. Okay, so let's go on and put our sky in. So make sure you really clean off your brush. Once you've been using red, it really stays in your brush. So you want to be sure and clean that off really well. And we're going to add some African violet now to the palette. And this area right in here, if you want to, you can just use a pencil, and we're going to put a little smoke coming out of this little chimney. So let's keep the sky away from that area. And really add water, you know, enough water to this. We're going to make the sky pretty dark. So we're going to come back to it again. Stay away from the structure. Try not to touch any of those lines, especially with your water this wet, your brush this wet. And we're just kind of filling this area in. Stay away from the red for sure. That red will bleed right into with the sky. So just leave a nice white border between the sky and those red berries. And then come back in again, and you can make this sky as dark as you want. The more passes that you do, the darker it gets. And when we take those little, take that masking fluid off, it's going to look really cool. We'll be able to see the snow in the sky. And get it really dark, kind of along this, the snow line here, so we can really see the edge of that snow. And this in here, where this little driveway is, that's going to be really dark too. Goes back, back, back. So just like that. You can add a little color down in here. And down in here. And I'm just going to make one more pass. You know, when your brush isn't as wet, you can drag it into the green. That's okay. That's not going to hurt it at all. But you kind of want to stay away from these other areas. Okay, that looks pretty good. We've got our little house, our little snowy scene about finished. So while that's drying, because we don't want to take any of these little dots off until this is really dry, that background sky is really dry. So let's just add a little glitter here. I wish you could really see this on the camera, but it's so hard to see. I'll try to hold it up so that you can see, but when you're doing these little snowy scenes, it's so fun to add some sparkle to it. And you can see how that will really blend your color. This is Wink of Stella. This is the clear. And for these snowy scenes, this just makes such a difference. You can see how that just darkens the color, it blends that color. And just kind of follow your lines. Stay away from the red with this too. Make sure you stay away from that red, because it will really, really pick up that red. Okay, you could add some in here too, in the green. And it's going to keep blending your color. So cute. I hope you can see that. And in the meantime, I'm going to sign and date while we're still waiting on that to dry. So be sure to sign and date. And put that in a frame or put it on a card for sure. So let's just wait another minute or so just for that to dry. Okay, looks like everything is really dry now, so that we can take this masking fluid off and erase our pencil lines. Any lines that you can see still, you want to take those off. So just take an eraser and just kind of go around your wreath. Make sure you get all those pencil lines off. And you can use that same eraser and you can take off your masking fluid. So it will just erase off just like this. So we've got our little sky showing so we can see the snow in the background. We've got all of our masking fluid rubbed off. Any lingering you can just take off with your finger. So just like this. And all of our lines are gone. So let's go ahead and use, this is the Signo. This is a pigment ink, white. It's a gel, so it's a white pigment. And we can add some more snow with this. So let's just put on a few more little dots, just like this, in front of the little house. And add a little more sky in the background. These are tiny little snowflakes now. And you can put them right over the house, over the driveway. Put some in this little tree. Just tiny little dots. Just put as much in of this as you would like. So fun. There we go. That looks pretty good. We've got this about finished and I've already signed and dated. So we have completed another project. I hope you try this one. It's really fun and I know you can do it. So have fun and put it on a card or put it in a frame or make an ornament. I think somebody would love it and they would love that you made it for them. Thanks so much for watching. If you like this video, please give me a thumbs up and I'll see you all next week.